least you could expect would be to get the hell beat out of you, and more than likely, worse.
And I was down to 89 pounds. All of us had a space 8 by 4. That was your space, your bed, everything went under the bed.
And everybody was just crammed up against everybody. You had to climb over people.
How we all came through it, sometimes I wonder how we ever made it.
They kept bringing more and more people.
We had bed bugs, terrible bed bugs.
Everybody had beriberi to some extent or another.
You know, when you're so weak that you get up and you fall over because you have beriberi.
As the Japs started losing in the war, we started losing in the prison camp, and it just went worse and worse and worse and worse.
We were down to about 600 calories a day on the average.
We had rice that was the Filipinos would normally feed to the pigs, full of worms. You ate the worms.
We learned to eat weeds and iguanas. We got some fish heads, dried fish heads. The rats disappeared too.
It was progressing towards starvation was what we were doing.
Quite a few people died of malnutrition, starvation.
The Japanese had told us there would be no more food. So we knew the end was coming.
They would tie them, and they would beat the bejesus out of them in front of all of us. We had, stand there and watch. And they were torturing some poor Filipino. They had the bit with the hose down his throat.
Taking pictures was a shooting offense.
Had the water on full force, and I just couldn't get away from there fast enough.
And if we're not going to die here, we're going to have to get the hell out of here.
Some people tried to escape and did, and when they got caught,
We'd rather be killed than stay there and watch the children die. Naturally, we couldn't go over a fence with a crying baby.
The guards were sitting there waiting for him, and they got him and they shot him. It took about 4 hours for him to die.
There's a couple hundred Japanese guarding the camp. They seen us, they'd probably start executing the internees. You couldn't have bought a seat from anyone in B Company in that plane. Everyone was anxious to do it. We were all scared. Anytime you made a jump, I don't care who you were, they say they weren't scared.
They didn't realize we were 25 miles behind the line.
And all of a sudden we heard all this gunfire going on. This scream, these roars, saying, they're here, they're here, they're here.
When they got out of those tanks, they looked like giants. They were from Texas.
they were the most gorgeous human beings in the whole world.
You had a good feeling that you had been a part of something good, some good operation that had really done good for humanity.
Well, if I don't come back, at least I feel I did something good